on 75th year of Indo Iranica. हाँ,
कौन सा ऐप है इसका?
एक मिनट हम बता रहे हैं, एक मिनट। सजेस्ट कंट्रीब्यूशन विथ डॉक्टर एम इस हाक मेमोरियल हॉल ईरान सोसाइटी में ये दो रोज़ा जो है 22 से लेकर 23 तक सर इंटरनेशनल 2 डेज इंटरनेशनल सेमिनार जो है ये हो रहा है। एक मिनट आप लोग आइए, इसको पूरा डिटेल में देखते हैं।
कुछ नहीं रखा हुआ था वहाँ। वो एयरटेल ऐप जो नहीं होता है इसे क्या नहीं फेसबुक।
I request Professor Dr. Hussain to present his paper. Present his paper.
एक मिनट इसका ये वाला
Distinguished scholars on the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have assembled today and yesterday to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the publication of Indo-Iranica. Indeed, it is an important day for all of us to see the continuum of the publication of Indo-Iranica. As I said yesterday in the inaugural function, that there were many journals which started with pomp and pomposity, but they could not continue their circulation even for decades. And I mentioned or referred to some of the very renowned journals like the Islamic Culture or Shafun or the Illustrated Weekly of India or Sukhan, which was published from Iran. But this journal, which is widely known as Indo-Iranica, first of all, we must acknowledge the debt which we owe to the contributors of this journal. This journal became so popular and it became a lifeline for Persian studies. The students who were studying Persian language and literature at undergraduate level or postgraduate level, or teachers and scholars and professors who were engaged with Persian studies in universities, for all of them, this journal happened to be indispensable for simple reasons that the institute, which is known as Iran Society, is in fact came into existence when Dr. Ishaq took inspiration from a similar institute which was formed in London, which was Iran Society of London. But the only difference between Iran Society of London and Iran Society of Kolkata is that the Iran Society of London took its origin because of trade, commerce and diplomacy. The British started showing interest in Iran, and thus the Iran Society of London came into existence to understand Anglo-Iran relation in a better way. But when the trade and commerce declined, Iran Society of London also declined, and today the Iran Society of London is no more a functional or a living entity. But how could the secondary Iran Society, which was conceived after the Iran Society of London, is a thriving and a living body. The only reason behind that, the founder of this society, Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, did take inspiration from the Iran Society of London, but his main objective, aims and objectives were different. He founded this Iran Society in order to promote Indo-Iran cultural relations. Governments may come, governments may go, but culture and civilization always remain in their place. So the very intention of founding Iran Society in Kolkata had a very sublime objective. That sublime objective, that pure objective, the pure object to advance learning and knowledge. Dr. Ishaq, in fact, he lit the lamp of knowledge in Calcutta, in Bengal, which is still glowing and burning with and spreading light. I believe so that Iran Society has played a vital role in the cultural and academic development of the city of Calcutta or Kolkata. Because when he founded this society, there was no discourse of Iran, at least on this soil of India. The discourse of Iran and India was mostly confined to those offices which were run by the government. That is, Indian Council for Cultural Relations or the Iran Culture House. But the very formation of this Iran Society in Kolkata has opened a vista of knowledge, has opened a window for Bengalis to peep into Iran. What Hafiz has said, that Shakkar Shakan Shaband Hame Tutiyane Hind, Zinqand Parsi ke be Bangale Mirabad, Taye Makan be Bino Zaman, Dar Suluke Sher, Kintifle Yek Shabe, Rahe Sad Sale Mirabad. That Bengal was in fact the natural abode of Persian. The beauty of Persian language and literature is that it never practiced the spirit or the essence of alienation. For example, I'll give you an example of Arabic language. Let us see how Arabic language, wherever the Arabs went, they conquered, Arabic was imposed, and the local culture diminished and vanished away, whether it was Egypt or whether it was Syria. But in case of Persian had a different sweetness. When the Parsis started landing at the port of Navsari, what the Qissa Sanjan says, that the king said that there is no place for the Parsis on Indian soil. Then the Parsi Mobil, who was blessed with wisdom, he took a handful of sugar. The king had showed him a bowl of milk, showing that there is no space because the milk came up to the brim of the bowl. So he just dissolved a handful of sugar in the milk and said that we would like to live in India just like sugar and milk can exist. And today we find that the same essence of Persian in Indian culture. Persian culture in India is just like the sweet, the sugar in the milk. Today, the institutes which are aiming to foster Indo-Iran relation, it is not that they are just advancing the Iranian agenda alone. We also find that the Indian ethos, the Indian culture, are intertwined with Persian, and thus you have Indo-Iran. Therefore, in the wisdom of Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, he christened the journal not as Iranica, not as Iran Namag. he made it Indo-Iranica, where you could see the fusion between India and Iran, a happy blend of India and Iran in terms of culture, in terms of language, in terms of history. So many shared elements could be seen in one single volume, which is Indo-Iranica. Of course, the standard varies from time to time. I can say with full responsibility that the earlier issues of Indo-Iranica, which came out during the time of Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, perhaps till 1966, if I am not wrong, Professor Ishaq passed away in 1966. Till 1966, this Indo-Iranica was heavily academic loaded journal. And it was very magnanimous journal in the sense, it was all embracing in the sense that one could see the presence of the Parsi writers, people who were interested in Iran before Islam. There is a sizable portion of academic writings on Iran before Islam written by Parsi scholars, and their abiding interest in Indo-Iranica as late as Mr. Rusi Begini. One could see that how the Parsi presence in Iran society, the Parsi presence in Indo-Iranica, they were all perceptible, they were palpable, they were very much, I would say, visible. Today, unfortunately, we don't find that space being filled by the Parsi community. It is not that Iran society is responsible for that. In fact, the Parsi community has also drifted away from their origin. They are more interested in their corporate life rather than in their cultural heritage today. That is why we do not find that Parsi presence in Iran society or in Indo-Iranica, because the Parsis have also changed their priority. They are giving more priority to their commerce and rather than the cultural and academic Parsi life, which is a proud possession of India. However, we should also, at this point of time, appreciate the magnanimous donation given to the publication of Indo-Iranica by philanthropists like B.C. Law, who donated 10,000 rupees in 1946. Imagine 10,000 rupees, his portrait is hung there on the panel. So he donated 10,000 rupees at that time for the publication. The grant was for the publication of Indo-Iranica. Similarly, government of West Bengal also showed its own interest in the publication of Indo-Iranica and periodically would sanction 1,000 rupees for that. At that time, 1,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees might be a peanut today, but at that point of time, this amount was a hefty amount. It was a big amount to support organization like Iran Society to publish Indo-Iranica. Then apart from there, the person who was really, one should acknowledge him today, was Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the connoisseur of Indo-Arabic Persian literature. He was then the education minister, and with a stroke of a pen, he sanctioned 10,000 rupees again through, it was routed through Indian Council of Cultural Relations for the publication of Indo-Iranica. So the magnanimous donors who sustained Iran society to publish Indo-Iranica on this happy occasion, we must express our sense of gratitude to all the departed souls. Lives of great men all remind us we should make our lives sublime and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Now coming back, when I was said that we could see the difference between the contents of Indo-Iranica before and after Dr. Ishaq. For example, there are two articles which I have come across on a Sikh poet, Nandlal Goya. The article which was published by S.N. Java on Nandlal Goya, then of course another article which has been published by one of the council members of the Iran Society. You could see the difference between the two articles. The subject matter is same Nandlal Goya, but the difference is that of a gulf of difference. So what we have to ensure today that the articles which are being published in Indo Iranica, of course, Dr. Firoz and his other colleagues are taking immense pain to edit articles, but it is not their responsibility. We don't have a scholarship of that stature today. One of those scholars whom I would like to जब मेरा वक्त खत्म हो जाएगा आप बता दीजिएगा प्लीज हाँ कि मैं औरों के वक्त पे कब्जा नहीं जमाना 3 minutes. Okay, I'll try to sum up within 3 minutes because I don't want to encroach on anybody's time. Time is the essence of life. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of those scholars who have really enriched the contents of Indo-Iranica was Ziauddin Desai. Dr. Ziauddin Desai was not from our community of academics. He was from Archaeological Survey of India. He was an epigraphist. He could read the writings on the stones only. But he had a number of articles contributed to Indo-Iranica. I still remember I had a fortune of meeting him, seeing him, not meeting him. I was a very ordinary student at that time, and he was an accomplished scholar in 80s and 90s. Perhaps one letter which he wrote to me, it was a postcard which I shared with Dr. Hassan Abbas. He in fact grabbed that postcard from me. Now it is in his possession. Ziauddin Desai has written a beautiful article on Nal Daman. As I said earlier, that Persian language has a syncretic behavior. It embraces every community, every clime, every region, wherever it goes. So it is difficult to say whether it was Persianization of India or Indianization of Persia. We could see that when Persian language came at the service of Emperor Akbar, even earlier that, but during the time of Akbar, there was a trend to Indianize Persian language as well as to Persianize Indian classics. Nal Daman is the classic example. Akbar asked Faizi that whether there was any lover in India or not, because he was sick of listening to the stories of Layla and Majnun, Shirin and Farhad. Then he said that didn't we have any lovers? Then the genius of Faizi, among all that, we have 5 important poets. Among those 5 important poets of Indo-Persian literature, none of them were Iranians by origin. You take the case of Amir Khusro, he was a Turk. You take the case of Faizi, he was a Yemeni. Then again, when you look at Bedil, he was again a Turk. And when you look at Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib, he was also a Turk. And when we see the last of the Romans, that is Sir Muhammad Iqbal, he was a Brahmin. So none of them was Persian, but the Persian language and literature which they have produced and reproduced is simply unparalleled and superb in the annals of Persian literature. Faizi has displayed his genius in composing Nal Daman. Nal Daman, when it was composed by Faizi, of course it was not composed by Tom, Dick and Harry. It was composed at the bid of Emperor Akbar. When he composed it, Akbar was so much enthralled after listening to the epic of Nal Daman. He asked he asked his courtier that it should be scribed in the best of khat, that is a script, and it was scribed in beautiful script and profusely illustrated by Naqib Khan. And this poem was sent to different parts of the world as a gift from India, from the court of Emperor Akbar. So it was not an ordinary form of composition which could be which other poets had composed. So it was a very exquisite type of composition. The story, of course, had its genesis in the Mahabharata, but the way Faizi had tried to infuse passionate spirit and essence. You know the story very well about the King Nala and Queen Damayanti. Their happy union, then separation, the trickery, the irony of fate which they suffered. Again, by stroke of chance, the king who had lost his empire to his brother Pushkar, he regained it, and there was a happy union. And after regaining it, he became old when he died, and his queen Damayanti became a sati. This is the plot of the story. But apart from that plot of the story, I would like to just draw your attention only to one or two couplets of that epic. That one or two couplets of that epic is, in which what is important, because the story was quite available, readily available in the Mahabharata, but how it could become more important than the story which was there in the Mahabharata, as the proverb goes, that how it could become holier than the Pope, how it could become more important than the story which was there in the Mahabharata. There, Faizi speaks so beautifully about his pen and penmanship. Bange kalamam darin shabetar bas maniye khufte kard bidar. At this darkness of night, my pen had awoken many dormant meanings. That means the meanings are dormant, they are sleeping. One has to kick them, make them awake. So how that awakening is taking place? That awakening is taking place by the genius of Faizi, and he talks about it in only one line. There are so many stanzas. Dr. Ziauddin Desai has given profusely, one after another, how this story differs from the original story from the Mahabharata. And of course, the way of exposition, the way of Professor Desai's exposition of Nal Daman, that itself is a sacred discourse and a very interesting discourse. But what is important, that how Faizi is reawakening words in composition. That is highly important, where he says, Magui ke ishq atashinas khakistar sho ke ishq inas. Don't say that love is fiery. Burn yourself to ashes and say, this is love. So handsome is what handsome does. It is not a person who appears handsome is handsome by saying love, love, love. The meaning of love cannot be explained and realized. One has to burn himself to ashes, then only the realization of love can be achieved. I think so. I must not go beyond this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Syed Akhtar Hussain, for your very intriguing and insightful presentation. Since we are running short of time, we shall summarize at the end. So without wasting time, may I request Dr. Mansur Alam to present his paper. Here you are. Okay. So may I request Dr. Tanveer Ahmed. And please confine yourself to 12 minutes, if possible. 12 minutes.
I will start. With the kind permission of the President of the session, yesterday and today, we are hearing and speaking about the importance of Indo-Iranica. But I am sorry to say that in the College of Kolkata or universities of West Bengal, we don't have full set of Indo-Iranica where Persian is taught. It is irony of fate, and it should be removed as soon as possible. Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, a visionary from Calcutta, with the support and I have to mention of the topic of my paper is exploring Indo-Iranica, where creativity meets scholarship. Dr. Muhammad Ishaq, a visionary from Calcutta, with the support and encouragement of some of prominent scholars, philanthropists of Calcutta, established an organization, namely Iran Society in 1944. It was not merely a turning point in the history of Persian studies, but a landmark for scholars of Persian, both Muslims and non-Muslims, who wholeheartedly devoted their energies and time in literary activities, foster meaningful discussions, collaborate in Persian research and criticism, and further advancement in this field. To Dr. Ishaq, the Iran Society was more than just an academy of Persian. It was the radiating center of intellectual sociability and central attraction of educated masses. Dr. Ishaq established the Iran Society, and after 2 years, started the publication of Indo-Iranica. Dr. Muhammad Ishaq was a faculty member of the Department of Arabic and Persian in Calcutta University. He did not think like other scholars and the older generation of teachers that his role in the academic circle was merely restricted to classroom teaching, research works, editing of manuscripts, translating works, and publishing books. By and large, academics in those days had no inspiration to write and publish their articles in journals. Dr. Ishaq, however, was a visionary academician. He looked to the future, anticipated needs, and charted out a course that would lead the academics to glory. He seems to have realized the role that periodicals can have in propagating a healthy exchange of ideas, promoting debates on issues relating to literature, and joy of participating in reading and writing. He valued creativity and scholarship, and inspired scholars through his writings and lectures and emphasized the need for putting their ideas on paper. He strongly advocated idea publish or perish. अभी जो विशरणी का लफ्ज हमने इस्तेमाल किया, मौलाना अबुल कलाम आजाद ने किताब लिखी है इंडिया विंस फ्रीडम। उसमें 30 पेजेस को उन्होंने नसीहत की थी कि मेरे मरने के इतने सालों के बाद खोली जाए। डॉक्टर इसाक विशरणी थे, उन्होंने ईरान सोसाइटी के क़याम के बाद 2 साल के अंदर हिजरा किया।